Every artist encounters a crucial moment in their career when their success becomes undeniable. For Kendrick Lamar, that moment arrived this spring when he achieved the #1 spot on Billboard's Artist Power Index for the first time this year. This ranking, which combines streaming figures, radio play, social media activity, and concert revenue, was not entirely unexpected given his recent accomplishments. It felt like the culmination of a series of significant victories, including a groundbreaking halftime performance at Super Bowl 59, a sweep at the Grammy Awards, and the ongoing success of his Gen X era. When Billboard analyzed the data for the week ending in late May 2025, Kendrick's performance metrics greatly surpassed those of his competitors. This milestone not only reflects on his past achievements but also suggests that his artistic journey continues to ascend, even 5 years into this decade. By the way, welcome to Celebrity Hip Hop Showroom, where hip hop and celebrity drama never sleep, so hit that subscribe button so you never miss the mess. Let's get into it. To appreciate the importance of this achievement, it's essential to understand what the Artist Power Index measures. Launched by Billboard in 2023, this chart tracks the most influential touring artists weekly, awarding points based on ticket sales, box office revenue, streaming statistics, radio airplay, and social media engagement. It goes beyond simply asking, who has the most monthly listeners? Or, whose song is played the most on the radio? Instead, it seeks to determine who is excelling across all areas, live performances, fan interaction, and online presence, in the past week. By this standard, Kendrick's #1 ranking signifies not just a single hit or a momentary viral sensation, but the sustained dominance across multiple platforms. This year, Kendrick's rise to the top of the Artist Power Index was bolstered by 3 significant events: his Super Bowl 59 halftime show, his Grammy Award success, and his co-headlining Grand National Tour with SZA. Each of these milestones had a considerable impact, as reflected in Billboard's data. The Super Bowl 59 halftime show in early February marked the first of these major events. As the first solo hip-hop artist to headline the Super Bowl, Kendrick seized the opportunity presented by one of the largest global entertainment platforms. The performance attracted 133.5 million viewers, breaking the previous record set by Michael Jackson in 1993, and resulted in immediate spikes in streaming and social media engagement. During the show, Kendrick unveiled a new version of Not Like Us, performed Luther with SZA, and featured surprise appearances from Samuel L. Jackson as Uncle Sam to enhance his social commentary. The production received widespread praise for its cinematic quality and cultural significance, with critics calling it the peak of any rap battle ever and one of the most significant halftime shows in history. In the week following the event, streaming of his entire catalog increased by over 40%, while radio plays of both Not Like Us and Luther surged into the top 10 on various airplay charts. Kendrick's Grammy night on February 2nd further reinforced his rising success. At the 67th Annual Grammy Awards, he took home 5 awards, including Record of the Year and Song of the Year for Not Like Us. This was a historic moment, making him only the second rapper to win Record of the Year, following Childish Gambino's This Is America in 2019. By the end of the evening, his total Grammy wins reached 22, positioning him as the 3rd most awarded rapper in history, behind Jay-Z and Kanye West. These wins were not just accolades. They symbolized a broad cultural endorsement of his artistic vision and expanded his music's reach. In the days after the awards, Not Like Us climbed back into the top 5 on the Billboard Hot 100 for the 3rd time in 2025, while Gen X returned to the top of the Billboard 200 chart dated February 22, 2025. These gains directly impacted his points on the Artist Power Index, as streaming numbers, album sales, and radio airplay all saw significant increases. Additionally, any discussion of Kendrick's performance on the Artist Power Index this year must include the Grand National Tour, which he co-headlined with SZA. The tour kicked off on April 19, 2025, in Minneapolis and wrapped up on June 18 in Landover, covering 23 stadiums, including major venues like Chicago's Soldier Field, June 6, New York's MetLife Stadium, and Los Angeles' SoFi Stadium. By early May, The tour had already grossed over $100 million, with nearly every show selling out. In Chicago alone, the two-night event drew 163,000 fans and generated over $20 million in revenue. Critics hailed the performances as breathtaking and genre-defining, praising Kendrick's expert pacing and his ability to seamlessly blend hits like King Kunta and Humble, with new tracks from Gen X, alongside SA's captivating performances on songs like Kill Bill and Snooze. The tour was so impactful that it propelled both artists into the top 3 positions on the Hot 100 simultaneously, Kendrick with Luther and Not Like Us, and SZA with Kill Bill, for several consecutive weeks. All these elements, ticket sales, sold-out venues, record-breaking streaming increases, and merchandise sales, significantly enhanced Kendrick's Artist Power Index score throughout late April and May. Considering all these factors, it becomes evident why Kendrick Lamar's top position on the Artist Power Index seemed almost inevitable. While a single Super Bowl performance might create a temporary spike in popularity, his Grammy wins and Grand National Tour solidified the notion that Kendrick was more than just a passing trend. He was a formidable commercial force with substantial cultural influence. As per Billboard's data for the week ending May 31, 2025, Kendrick Lamar's earnings from touring, social media activity, including tweets, views, and TikTok mentions, streaming numbers, and radio airplay significantly outperformed those of any other artist. When the new chart was published on June 7, 2025, it announced that Kendrick had achieved the number 1 position on the Artist Power Index for the first time this year. To understand the importance of this ranking, it's helpful to review Kendrick's progress on the Artist Power Index over the past 2 years. He first broke into the top 25 in June 2024, following his Pop Out, Ken and Friends concert for Juneteenth at the Kia Forum in Inglewood, which featured artists like Dr. Dre, Ty Dolla $ign, YG, Tyler, The Creator, and BLXST. This concert provided him with enough touring points to enter the top 25. However, he did not reach the number 1 position in 2024, often staying around the top 5, especially after the release of GNX in November 2024, when all 12 tracks from the album debuted simultaneously at the top of the Hot 100. Despite this, he was consistently outperformed by other artists. Taylor Swift's Eras Tour set record earnings, Drake's Scary Hours 3 tour achieved impressive ticket sales, and Beyoncé's Renaissance World Tour generated significant revenue. Although Kendrick had notable streaming success, GNX became the first album since Drake's Views to occupy all 5 top spots on the Hot 100, and Squabble Up debuted at number 1. He did not lead the Artist Power Index until 2025. Looking at the weeks leading up to his top ranking illustrates how various metrics interacted. In early May 2025, his streaming numbers were outstanding. Luther had spent 13 consecutive weeks at number 1 on the Hot 100, while Not Like Us returned to number 1 for a 3rd time on February 22, 2025, and remained in the top 5. His Spotify monthly listener count reached 94 million, the highest ever for a rapper. On radio, he achieved his 8th number 1 on the mainstream R&B/hip-hop airplay chart with TV Off, following earlier successes with Luther and Squabble Up earlier in the year. In May alone, he received over 50 million mentions on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, fueled by clips from the Grand National Tour, surprise guest appearances, and viral moments, such as his appearance in a fan's cell phone flashlight camera during All Right. Touring was also a key factor. By mid-May, the tour had sold over 1 million tickets, averaging 32,000 per show. Instagram stories from major stadiums displayed sold-out venues and enthusiastic crowds, which was reflected in Pollstar's box office statistics. All these metrics played a role in the Artist Power Index algorithm. Billboard's official description of the Artist Power Index states that the weekly rankings are based on. By late May 2025, Kendrick was either leading or ranked among the top 3 in all 5 categories, accumulating enough power points to outpace everyone else. In contrast to typical competitors, like Taylor Swift, who wasn't on tour, and Drake, who lacked new singles that were dominating streaming or major tour dates, it's clear why Kendrick secured the number 1 position. But why is this significant beyond mere bragging rights? For an artist like Kendrick, widely considered one of the greatest lyricists in rap, winning the Artist Power Index title illustrates that artistic integrity, commercial success, and cultural influence can coexist. In earlier periods, such as during the releases of Good Kid, Mad City, or To Pimp a Butterfly, Kendrick was praised for his artistry but rarely topped mainstream charts. His songs received critical acclaim but often didn't dominate streaming playlists or radio airplay as much as his pop-oriented contemporaries. However, by 2024, this began to shift with GNX. Squabble Up debuted at #1 on the Hot 100, and several tracks from GNX held top chart positions simultaneously, a rarity typically associated with mainstream crossover artists. Still, he didn't reach the #1 spot on the Artist Power Index because other major touring artists, like Beyoncé or Drake, had larger stadium tours or pop hits that influenced the rankings. In 2025, Kendrick effectively combined all elements of his strategy. He headlined one of the most talked-about Super Bowl halftime shows and released Not Like Us during a peak in political and generational discussions in hip-hop, garnering global attention. He dominated the Grammy Awards, providing mainstream institutions with clear reasons to promote his work. Additionally, he toured large stadiums with SZA, another artist whose wide appeal boosted the touring aspect of the index. This collaboration served as an ideal model for future hip-hop artists, to maintain authentic artistry while leveraging major platforms and partnerships that can generate the mass metrics tracked by the index. Notably, Kendrick's ascent on the Artist Power Index signifies a shift in how hip-hop artists can be assessed and celebrated. For many years, hip-hop was often defined by metrics that emphasized either street credibility or pop appeal. Now, the index acknowledges that an artist like Kendrick can excel in both areas. He can address social injustice in All Right, while also engaging a mainstream stadium audience with Luther. This reflects a broader understanding that the pinnacle of rap success is no longer solely about chart performance. It encompasses overall dominance in touring, streaming, social influence, and critical acclaim. The story doesn't end with Kendrick's brief time at the top. His current challenge is to stay on the index for as long as possible, as he faces competition from other artists aiming for the same title. Taylor Swift has already announced an extension of her Eras tour this fall, which could potentially outdo Kendrick's touring numbers by October. Drake has hinted at surprise singles coming this summer, which usually result in significant increases in streaming and social media activity. Additionally, Beyoncé is teasing new music, and her Renaissance World Tour will continue next spring. Each of these artists has the potential to reclaim the #1 position on the index when their activities peak. What sets Kendrick apart is that his strategy for dominating the index is far more intricate than a single method. He isn't relying solely on streaming hits or a major tour. Instead, he is building a multifaceted empire that includes unexpected releases, strategic collaborations, thoughtfully crafted visuals, impactful lyrics, and a sharp understanding of when and how to use premium platforms. The Grand National Tour showcased this marketing synergy. Every stadium announcement was paired with a merchandise launch, setlist updates were teased through cryptic social media posts, and opening acts were chosen to reflect larger cultural conversations, for example, featuring hip-hop legends from Los Angeles alongside emerging stars from Compton. Even his stage design, a rotating circular platform that allowed him to connect with every section of the arena, symbolized his ability to capture global attention from all angles. As the summer festival season kicks off, Kendrick's leading position on the Artist Power Index sets a benchmark for success in 2025. Simply releasing a platinum album or headlining Coachella is no longer enough. Today's artists must excel across multiple platforms simultaneously, achieving billions of streams, making international headlines, filling stadiums, and setting social media standards that others struggle to meet. For Kendrick Lamar, these elements have now been encapsulated in a single chart ranking. What's next? In the near future, Kendrick will likely focus on maintaining his momentum through collaborative projects and strategic appearances. He has already hinted at a deluxe edition of GNX, which could feature additional tracks or new guest verses to keep streaming numbers high. There are also rumors of a surprise visual album in the style of Tarantino that might coincide with the deluxe release, generating new discussions and another wave of social engagement. On the touring front, the Grand National Tour could extend into the fall, potentially overlapping with Taylor Swift's stadium schedule, an unprecedented scenario where two of the world's biggest live performers hit major markets back-to-back. Meanwhile, his recent collaboration on Futures, like that, adds to the excitement. Kendrick Lamar's collaboration with Metro Boomin, already a #1 hit in 2024, could gain even more traction through remixes or live performances at festivals. In the long term, Kendrick seems to be aiming not just to keep his top position on the Artist Power Index, but also to redefine what it means to be #1. If he can consistently achieve over 60 million on-demand streams each week, garner 30 million radio impressions, and sell out stadiums with an average capacity of 60,000, he could set a new standard that lasts for years. As a result, any future artist reaching #1 will have to meet the benchmark Kendrick established in 2025, which combines successful touring, award-winning talent, and significant social impact. When the chart was released on June 7, 2025, it represented more than just a number. It marked a cultural milestone that declared, "This is the current state of hip-hop." Kendrick Lamar's rise to #1 on the Artist Power Index this year was anticipated. He is undoubtedly one of the most acclaimed and influential artists of the 21st century. However, it also sent a strong message. His influence goes beyond critical acclaim or niche appreciation. It is evident in data that reflects the entire music industry. In an era where metrics often feel disconnected from artistic expression, Kendrick has successfully bridged that gap, asserting his dominance on a chart that truly represents what it means to be a leading figure in today's music landscape. This underscores the real importance of the Artist Power Index and highlights Kendrick Lamar's impact in 2025. Hey, you've just stepped into Celebrity Trendy News, the spot for today's biggest headlines and tomorrow's trending scandals. Don't forget to subscribe, share your thoughts in the comments.